I am no hero, merely a man who has seen and done and endured what can never be forgotten or forgiven. Take this podcast, for example. The humans play at being some elite film gods. They're merely men playing the role. They even have a Patreon page at patreon.com/evacstation. It's all the more sad they only ask for a paltry sum of money to run this joke of a show. Patreon.com/evacstation. Such is the folly of man. They're not even worth the effort of killing. I'll just adjourn back to Asteroid M, but the rest of you can just stay here and enjoy this drivel while it lasts. We are podcasters and proud. Welcome to the After Credits Cast, the only film podcast that overuses the words groovy and radical on a regular basis. I am your host, Azazel Waseska, and with me today I've got Ryan McCoy.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll give you a fun one.
I'm down for that.
And the intro song for this episode is X-Men's TV theme, The Jazz Mix, by Randy Waldman and Till Brunner. It's a good song. I liked it when I found it.
I'm digging it. I'm really enjoying it, actually.
Oh, you found it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. For those who are just joining us, the link is down below for that song, as well as a link to our Patreon page, our Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Reach out to us directly if you have any questions, comments. If you want to tell us how much you want to go to Asteroid M for a fun family vacation, let us know down in the comments below. And if you want to email us to tell us your favorite X-Men destination, Ryan, where's the best place I can go for that?
That is Hank is badly in need of a pedicure at Sorry, excuse me, damn. That is evacstation at gmail.com.
Manny, petty, body wax, the whole 9 yards, honestly.
He needs that shit. It's rough.
And of course, also links down to the various platforms. We've said them before, you know where they're at. Let's just move on to the show. Ryan, as always, what you been watching?
Damn it. Why do I always forget to do the second one?
I can go first if you like. I got some.
Yeah, please.
So, Ryan, I've held this off for a while, but then I realized I can't really do this for Endgame. We're recording, obviously, before Endgame comes out. I can't do this one for Endgame because it's going to be a long enough podcast as it is. So I'm going to say I finished Daredevil Season 3.
What are your thoughts?
It is a fitting end to a very good series. I think it is definitely my favorite season. I think that what's his name, Wilson Fisk brought his A game. Matt Murdock brought his A game. Everyone's on their top game right here. It's a shame the series is over, but I don't think they could have ended it a better way.
That's true. I mean, I 100% agree. As the season was ending, I was just like, if they canceled it, this would not be bad. This would not be a bad place to end. Because it's real good. I 100% want more of this shit. But you got to see Matt go to, the darkest lows of his character, only to, come roaring out and just, you can't destroy me. I will not destroy myself and who I am for my vengeance. And the man without fear monologue. Okay, I'm not going to turn this into a Daredevil podcast. I'm so glad you watched it. If you guys want to talk to us about it, please send us emails. I can literally talk about that season for hours.
We might have to swing back around for those at some point, because I think those would be fun.
God, it's so good.
But I do want to say that I do wish Luke Cage should be given this treatment of a third and final season, because Luke Cage ended on such a fucking cliffhanger, and it's like, oh, he's a bad guy now, and we're done? Oh.
Here's the thing. I think the showrunners for Daredevil had an idea that they might be on the chopping block, but the guys who were doing Luke Cage had no fucking clue. They're like, of course we're getting a third season, so we're gonna put him on this damn story track after some crazy shit happened to him, and people are really gonna be hooked. But remember, Luke Cage was the first, after Iron Fist, Luke Cage was the next one to go. And we were all expecting Iron Fist, kind of. But Luke Cage was a complete shock, and I think that was to everybody, so I don't think they had an idea that it was ending.
I'm surprised Jessica Jones is still getting a third season. I thought that would have been first to go, since, I mean, it's good, but, I mean, I just didn't know that it was going to stay around for another season.
I'm pretty sure it's because they were like in the middle of filming season 3, so they weren't gonna like scrap that whole project. They're like, no, we'll let you finish out that season, but yeah, everything else is going, so
yeah, that's fair.
Wrap it up. Yeah, same thing with the second season of The Punisher. That's why that came out too.
I was gonna say, I haven't gotten a Punisher yet. I'll have to add that to my list.
Punisher's real good. You haven't seen like the first season of it at all?
Not yet. We've been slowly working our way through it. We took a break and went to other shows. We're gonna hopefully get back to it though.
I will admit season 1 is better than season 2, but season 2 is still really good. Season 2 is still really good, but season 1 is fucking ugh. Man, we have a podcast to do. You're gonna get me all on these Netflix shows.
We do. Did you have anything you want to add for your What You Watching this week?
Oh, shit, I forgot.
I distracted him so hard. While he's thinking, everybody, let me just say here real quick that I'm looking forward to seeing how Disney decides to carry forward with these shows if they decide to do something on Disney Plus, because news came out about that recently. And if we didn't talk about that in the Endgame podcast, because God knows how much time we'll have to have for that, quick shout out. It sounds very interesting. I'm compelled to check it out. But I'm waiting to see what all entails on it. But it sounds like you're going to get a shit ton of stuff from day one, and that's kind of impressive compared to what we're getting with everywhere else right now. Yeah,
it's very true. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
So for my What You Watching, I'm going to take the easy road because, this episode's going to be coming out like a ways later, but in the time where we are recording, Cagliostro, there is, of course, one show that has just recently debuted with the first episode of its 8th and final season. My What You Watching is, of course, Game of Thrones, which was really, really good. I used Allegra's Uverse account, and we actually watched it at the same time, long distance. So we got all of each other's reactions and what have you. And of course, the ending of the first episode had me actually freak out for a little bit, which is rare because I haven't done that in front of her yet, and I'm really glad that happened over the phone and not in person yet. I gotta ease her into my craziness, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. I've yet to get in that show, but I'm thinking once the series is over, I'll finally jump in. I don't know what it was, but I think season 1 I just couldn't click with it, and maybe if I go back into it, I'll give it a shot. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait for the hype to die down for everything, and then when everything's nice and cooled off, I can jump in and feel like it's fresh for me then.
See, that was Allegra's idea. She had watched the first 4 seasons, but all the hype around it, she just kind of steered clear of it, and so she stopped. But then while she was staying in South Korea, season 7 came out and everybody was watching it, so she says, I'll just watch season 7, and completely fucking skipped 2 seasons. And I'm like, babe, why have you done this?
Well, she skipped a time portal. That's fine. You could have time portals in your shows. It's great.
no.
Futurama does it all the time.
There's no time stone in Game of Thrones. Never mind. She watched it, like, she got re-caught up. She watched the seasons that she missed, and now we're watching it again, and it's really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. I definitely have to give that a look, because everything I've heard about sounds pretty compelling. It's just, like I said, it's one of those big time sinks. I'm like, let me just give it some time. Let me just wait.
It is definitely a time commitment. And for folks who have to budget their time accordingly, yeah, it can be a big ask. But if you do get into it, I'm pretty sure you won't be disappointed. It's a really great mix of, like, realistic fantasy with also, like, threads of high fantasy in it. Like, it's gritty, but there's also, like, some crazy shit that goes down, which is really cool.
Well, speaking of really cool things, Ryan, it's time to welcome back everybody to our fond farewell of the Fox X-Men franchise.
Indeed.
This is the Disneymation. Today, 2011's X-Men First Class, directed by Matthew Vaughn and written by Ashley Miller and Zach Stens. And no, I looked. No controversies around this week's director. Thank Christ. One movie where that's not an issue.
Whew, they did it.
Yep.
They did it, guys.
We'll be back at square one next week, don't you worry. The cumulative worldwide gross currently sits at $353,624,000, which is just around double what it was produced for. This little reboot features a nice batch of new faces, including Jason Fleming, January Jones, Jennifer Lawrence, Rose Byrne, or Bryn. No, Byrne. I think it's Byrne.
It's Byrne. Yep.
Nicholas Hoult, Michael Fassbender, James McAvoy, and the world's greatest hero, Kevin Bacon.
Star-Lord loves this fucking movie. It's his favorite, actually.
It's probably up there in his top 5 for sure. This film did get some awards, actually, including Best Makeup from the Academy of Sci-Fi, Fantasy, and Horror, Best Line of the Year, Best Sci-Fi Movie of the Year, and Best Breakthrough Performance of the Year from the Golden Schmoes. And then from IGN and IGN Summer Movie Awards, it has the Best Actor, Best Movie, Best Comic Book Adaptation, and the People's Choice Awards also gave it the Best Movie Director and Best Action Movie. And of course, the last one, which is my favorite, Best Cameo and Best Fantasy Movie from the Scream Awards.
Best cameo. I have a guess as to which cameo they're referring to.
Well, obviously, it's the cameo with Magneto's helmet at the very end.
Of course. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. Damn. It was that bright magenta fucking spray paint job, but that really sold it for me.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Or was the Russian guy, the one Russian dude who was making out with himself?
Oh, yeah, of course. I always see him in these movies. We always love to see that guy.
Yep, he's almost like Stan Lee if you really look hard enough.
Get the fuck. I have fun facts because Aaron's being a dick. Alright, I have fun facts over here. Alright, so to prepare his role as Charles Xavier, James McAvoy, the fucking acting titan that he is, actually shaved his head. He soon learned that the filmmakers wanted Xavier to have a full head of hair for the prequel. Dun dun dun. Throughout the first month of filming, McAvoy actually had to wear hair extensions. He would later have to actually shave his head for X-Men Apocalypse, which would come out in 2016.
If it makes you feel better, McAvoy, I didn't notice. I thought it looked fine.
Yeah, I thought he looked real good. He looked real good. Now, next up, to prepare for his role as Eric Lensher, Michael Fassbender actually studied Sir Ian McKellen's performance as Lensher in the previous X-Men films, but also looked through the comics as he wanted to make his own version of Magneto. He's quoted to have said, "You want to respect what somebody else has done, especially because the fan base really liked what Ian has done with it. But while I could have gone and studied him as a young man and brought that to the performance, I don't think Matthew is very interested in that. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to go my own way and working with whatever is in the comic books and in the script." That's a wonderful take on it.
He did good.
And it really, really shows because you can see... Like, I personally liked, like, some of the stillness and, like, the commanding presence that Michael Fassbender brings to it, especially, like, those scenes with the coin. like when he's an adult.
Yep.
It has a real like Sir Ian McKellen like feel like to what he brought with it. It's just like as a younger man, which I loved. So I 100% love that shit. And last but not least, the winner for Best Cameo from the Scream Awards, in my personal opinion. Hugh Jackman accepted the opportunity to cameo as Wolverine when he learned he would be the only character in the film to use the word fuck. He improvised the line, "Go fuck yourself," after using the other 7 takes to say fuck off. And the reaction from James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender to the different line was actually authentic because they had heard him say fuck off so many times. When he switched it up, they were kind of taken aback, which was perfect, and it ended up being the cut that they used.
Man, are you sure it wasn't the old Russian man? I thought he was the cameo.
He was a close second, man. He was a close second.
Maybe next year. Maybe next year he'll win that award. Some initial thoughts real quick. So, when I first saw this movie, I was actually pretty pleased with the choices they made for the reboot. I wasn't completely, enamored by it, but I liked the choices they made. They made some smart ones. Going back and watching it again, I'm noticing a lot of little details and little things that make me just love this movie all the more.
Yeah. I think it's same for me. This was a weird one. I have a habit especially with these new movies that we're going to be discussing in the coming weeks, that I watch it the first time and I'm not entirely into it, and then I leave it for a couple of months and then I watch it again and I realize, oh shit, actually this is really, really good. And then I watch it again and I keep picking up the little things that I really, really dig about it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think originally I was originally put off by just how different it was from the original X-Men movie series. But looking back with some space on it, I think the choices that they made really made it a more character-driven, character-focused story. It felt more like a period piece that also played around the origin of Charles and Eric's friendship, which was an infinitely better movie than what I had seen in the past couple.
Yep. I honestly don't have any complaints going into this. Let's dive right in. What do you think?
Let's do it!
Well, we're back in Poland to see Magneto's origins, in which a younger Sebastian Shaw tortures the boy into using his powers, or he'll just shoot his mom. Obviously, Mom Nito is dead, and Magneto's powers grow, and he becomes a bitter man out on a globe-trotting vengeance quest. Also, we see a privileged young Xavier taking in a homeless Mystique as a sister of sorts. Flash forward to college years when Mystique wants to be seen as something more, but Xavier just can't because he'd rather bag on her appearance, which he's very sensitive about. You know, for a mind reader, you'd think he'd catch on that obvious little bit. Meanwhile, a gang of mutants are manipulating government bodies during the Cold War to instigate World War III, led by the glorious Kevin Bacon. Meetings get a little interrupted when Magneto tries to kill him, but things like that kind of fail, and Xavier, now recruited by the CIA, tries to stop Magneto before he kills himself. Groovy. Alright, select members of the CIA have been clued into the existence of mutants in order to deal with the gang of rogue mutants we just mentioned. This little group is led by Moira McTaggart, who you may remember as a girl with an accent in a previous X-Men film. Xavier, Magneto, and Mystique are introduced to Hank the Beast McCoy, who is basically our insert Tony Reed for this film. He has invented a device to amplify brainwaves, which Xavier uses to find and recruit other mutants to help them fight Shaw and friends. Most of them are B-listers, including one asshole in a pub who is like the tallest... wait, what's this say?
Tells?
I don't know why this autocorrected that. Who tells them to fuck themselves. But a crew is picked up and ready to roll.
It's the first class, guys!
Yeah! Leaving the kids behind, Magneto and Xavier lead a team to pursue Emma Frost, Shaw's right-hand woman, in an obvious diversion while Shaw tries to terrify the young recruits. He spouts his rhetoric Magneto will be known for as an old man, and the young stripper girl joins them. The man who can adapt to anything is somehow killed. And Xavier brings the kids to his family's mansion of hardships to train because everyone can get their training montages going enough for the final battle. Oh, and Beast tries to develop a cure for mutants many, many years before it actually happens, but ends up mutating himself into a member of the Broadway hits, Cats.
Skimble Shanks, the railway cat. The cat of the railway. I'm sorry. Continue, please.
I am so glad he knows something for that reference. It's great.
That was my jam when I was a kid. I'm sorry. I derailed it. Please continue.
Well, let's get back on the rails real quick from Railroad Cat. The team gets on the Future X-Jet and flies to the blockade, where a standoff is taking place. Using a combination of their powers, they manage to prevent a rogue ship from breaking the blockade and finding a submarine to Shaw and friends where they're hiding. Everyone gets washed onto the beach before fighting happens. Magneto kills Shaw and takes the anti-Scion helmet, becoming the Magneto we all know and love. He then spouts the rhetoric we also all know and love, seconds before the two militaries they just saved open fire on the beach of mutants. Magneto tries to kill them, and Xavier tries to stop him. Moira shoots at Magneto, and a stray bullet, courtesy of Magneto, kind of hits Xavier in the spine and paralyzes him. Magneto blames Moira, but Xavier forces him to admit the truth that he is responsible, and Magneto relents. He takes those who will follow him and fucks off to go and save Emma in the not post-credits sequence. Xavier returns to the mansion in a wheelchair to start his school for mutants. Wanting to keep his secret, he mind wipes Moira, leaving her unable to tell the government about mutants or where to find them. I'm sure she won't be important in future films. It's fine.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Ryan, what do you think?
This is like head and shoulders above the last two, like the last X-Men like franchise period. I mentioned it earlier that the movie is essentially a period piece where you kind of get to relive the Cuban Missile Crisis, but it frames it also alongside of the, like, essentially tracking the progression of Eric and Charles's friendship, which they start the movie at such polar opposites. Eric's in a fucking concentration camp. Charles is a super duper privileged white boy in the middle, like who finds a stray mutant and says, "Hey, yeah, come on in, it's fine. We worry for nothing in this house. We got this." And it parallels their two stories until they come to each other, and they arrive at similar conclusions, but from opposite ends of the coin, which opposite sides of the coin. Which I love that they keep referencing that, using that as a visual metaphor, while also just subtly putting them at odds up until the moment where their paths diverge for real, and Magneto ultimately causes his paralyzation. So I thought it was fantastic for that story alone, and then they added a bunch of really cool things on top of it.
Absolutely. I want to hit the period piece angle real quick, because you did mention that a couple times. The film... Oh, sorry, where am I at here? Why do you think the film takes place around the Cuban Missile Crisis, and does that work for the themes and narrative of this film?
I think so. I think the idea of setting it in the Cuban Missile Crisis really hammers on the fear, the potential for damage to be caused by the other side, which automatically causes you to hate the other side. Like you see it in essentially a standoff where everybody's kind of like got their hand on the button waiting for the other person to press it, and it's ultimately a conflict driven by fear. You have Sebastian, who wants to manipulate that fear and essentially get the humans to kill each other, and like essentially to kind of trade on their ignorance and really get them to jump the gun. And I love that Charles's answer to that is to combat ignorance with knowledge, to actually let the guys know what the fuck's going on, which really proves his side of it. Like, they're able to diffuse the crisis by letting them know exactly what the fuck's going on and getting them to trust. But then the humans turn around and kind of prove Magneto's perspective when this random-ass group of super powerful people that just stopped the war also showcased like ridiculously powerful things, and they're like, we should probably kill those guys, right? Yeah, let's just fucking do that, because they're spooky as hell over there. And Magneto's like, fucking see? You see? You did all this to save them, and they're shooting missiles at you. Fuck these guys.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head right there, and I think just the tensions and the fears of that era really help sell the idea, and the idea of the standoff, which is like the eternal struggle of Magneto and Xavier, kind of works building off of this. So yeah, no, there's a lot of good stuff going on here that really helps set the stage for what we're going to get down the road. So I like it. I like your take on that one.
Yeah, and it really parallels what will be the ongoing like struggle between humanity and mutant kind. You have humanity so terrified of all the crazy shit that mutants can do that a couple of dumb humans decide to do drastic things to go against mutants. Meanwhile, on the mutant side, you have people like Eric Lenscher, who are so like hateful of the things that humanity has done to them in the past that they just want to wipe the slate. They just want to wipe them fucking clean off the board and they think that they don't deserve to be there anyway. So you have a constantly reoccurring standoff between terrified humans and vengeful mutants, and the X-Men constantly stand in the middle of that to keep both sides from killing each other. So it's a really lovely microcosm of like the ongoing debate that will happen throughout the rest of the X-Men universe.
Indeed. Speaking of the rest of the X-Men universe, okay. So, do you prefer the portrayals of actors from this series or the original series? And speaking specifically of Xavier, Magneto, Beast, and Mystique.
So Mystique, I'm gonna go with the new one because Jennifer Lawrence is pretty good, and they actually, give her some characterization outside of just being a super sassy spy that can do whatever the fuck she wants. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go with J-Law on that one. Beast, I would 100% pick Kelsey Grammer. I don't think there's anything wrong with Nicholas Hoult, but I feel like Kelsey Grammer knocked it so far out of the fucking park, and really really portrays like the intelligence, the stature that is brought to the character of Beast, while also adding a lot of funny stuff to it. So 100% Kelsey Grammer over Nicholas Hoult. The other two.
This is where it gets tough.
That's rough. These are rough things. I think the new actors have an inherent advantage because their movie is based damn near solely to develop their characters. Whereas the previous actors, they already set them up as the essentially the established titans of the mutant world, and they got to act as ancillary figures, as guardians, and as like big bad villains, but they didn't really get a chance to like delve deep into characters. And the few moments that they did get to were fantastic. And of course, it's Sir Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. It's fucking Gandalf and Jean-Luc Picard. Of course, these guys are gonna kill it in the limited amount of time that you get to see them. God damn it! I don't know. I want to say all in all, because they get 3 movies to really develop these. Wait, actually, that is a good question. Are we talking about just in First Class? Or are we talking about overall new versus old?
I'd say you can take the question however you want. I was thinking maybe overall, just because you get 3 films apiece, I think.
Yeah, then overall, then I think my previous point stands. I think the new actors get an inherent advantage because they have more screen time to really work off of each other and develop into like really complex 3D characters. And I love that they take the time. Spoiler alert! But they take the time to really pay homage to the older movies, like to going around to like actually connecting to that iconic conversation that they get to have at the end of Apocalypse, which I literally lost my mind as soon as it happened. So yeah, I would give it to the new actors of James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, in my opinion.
I'll do a quick rundown for me. For Mystique, I like the sassy attitude of the original. I understand that the newer one gets more to do, but I do think I like Romaine's take on the role a bit more. It's a close call there, but I think Romaine is just more fun.
Okay.
Beast, hands down, Kelsey Grammer. And I don't even think it's a bad acting, I think it's literally just, I don't like the look of the new Beast versus the old Beast.
Yeah.
I think they improve him in later films, but this first one, that's a rough outfit, man.
It is pretty rough, yeah.
For Magneto, I'm gonna say Fassbender because I think he brings an intensity to the role that while McKellen does a great job with, I never feel necessarily that intimidated or threatened by him. But
you get fury out of Fassbender, which is really, really cool.
Yep, and he handles that really well. I think that I'd love to see him in more roles, but this is definitely one of his best roles I've seen him in. And then Xavier, I could go either way, honestly. I think Patrick Stewart has a certain level of gravitas he brings to the role, and he looks the part day one.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a level of ingenuity and interest that McAvoy brings to it as well. He actually does have some fun with the role too. I think they both fit the version of the role that they're doing the best, and I think that either one of them could definitely carry the role themselves very easily. I know it's not a very solid answer for him, but that's the best I got for Xavier.
It's really fair though. It's very fair. There are two takes on it, and I think it's really the age gap is really apparent, particularly in Charles Xavier's case, because when Patrick Stewart plays him, you see him as an already established mentor who has devoted his life to teaching children, and you can see he holds himself in that kind of do no wrong aspect to the point where when you recognize that he's not so squeaky clean, it's kind of jarring when you get that at the end of X3. But James McAvoy, he gets to play a younger, I wouldn't say more charismatic, but he kind of throws his charisma around. And definitely he does not know everything as of yet. He gets to play a fallible Charles Xavier, where you see the brilliance and the kindness in the role, but you also see him approaching the levels of fucking stature and status. So I think McAvoy has more of a road to travel, but you also get to explore more of the character with him. That's why I picked him.
So speaking of Mystique, because we brought her up a little bit there, why is everyone so quick to bash Mystique on her looks?
Guys, Jennifer Lawrence doesn't look bad. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You could slap this blue paint on her and give her red hair. I'm into redheads, let's be real here. But, I'm looking at her, I'm why are y'all objectifying her as some kind of ugly person? She looks hot. She looks great. Someone just throw her a bone here.
I will say, and for some reason, the blue makeup, the Mystique makeup, actually makes her look a little more childish in just to my eyes.
It gives her a baby face.
It does give her a baby face, right? That's not just me.
No, I've heard it before on another podcast, and I see it myself every time I look at her. Romaine, I think, has the better face for the makeup, but I think they both pull off the look fine otherwise.
Yeah. I still think she looks the part really, really well, and I like the characterization that she brings to it. But yeah, the makeup, it rounds her facial features a little too much, and it makes it seem like she's much younger, which when then she shows up in just the full blue body suit, and essentially she's naked, and she has a baby face. That's a little disconcerting.
But anyway,
that's the only problem I had.
Yeah, but shout out to Magneto for seeing her for who she really is. That's the best part of that whole thing.
Oh, girl. we're gonna talk about her and Magneto next movie.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that. Let's see what I got next here. Do you feel Shaw's powers were handled very well here? Why or why not?
I really like Shaw's powers. I'm not entirely sure what the necessary like for a mutant that fucking strong. I don't see why particularly he needed to fucking do all of this back and forth. I think he honestly could have just gone up and blown up the fucking anyone at the blockade, and that would have been the end. That would have been the start of the war right then and there. But I think the power looks awesome, and I think he himself is really, really cool.
I think his plan was a little complicated, but I think movie villains tend to get their plans complicated in weird ways. So it's not really a fault of him. I think it's just the writers may have just thought of one idea and they took it a little too far, didn't think it through enough. But no, I've seen him in other works, the other comics and movies, or the cartoon shows, and his powers are really well done here. Like, I never really seen him showcased in a way that looks interesting, but this way makes him look kind of like a monster almost, and you're kind of wondering how the hell you stop this thing.
Yeah, because fucking energy absorption and redirection is just, that's stupid powerful. That's like stupidly powerful.
I kind of want to see him. I kind of want to see him fight something like Captain Marvel, since her thing is also absorbing radial energy and stuff like that and sending it back. That'd be kind of an interesting matchup.
That would be a very interesting matchup. I'm just coming to realize the fact that when Sebastian Shaw really goes out on his villain shit or his recruiting montage, you see him use the same logic and things and rationale that Magneto spits when he's trying to get people to join the Brotherhood. It's pretty much the same fucking message, but the only difference is that Sebastian Shaw killed Eric's mom and put him through hell. And so and kudos to Fassbender for playing it so well that you don't really consider that
until he says
it, and you're after the fact you're like, wait, you're saying the same shit this dude said. The only difference is that you're not trying to necessarily torture people. Outside of that, you're doing exactly the same thing that this monster was doing to other people and to humans. So it's he has this justified rage and anger, but it leads him to the same monstrous conclusions as it did the person who created him. And that's inherently just hatred passed down creates more hatred, which in turn turns bigots into more bigots and just kind of predicates itself on that. So it's when you really think about it, his story is really, really interesting along those lines.
And it's a really deep, layered story too. It's something of the question I had later actually, so I'm glad you brought it up. But no, it's
hey!
But no, Magneto adopts or carries on Shaw's moral stance on the mutant-human debate, and at first you're thinking to yourself, this seems kind of hypocritical, but then like you said, it's kind of just he's feeding off that same fear and hatred, and he's building off of it in the way that makes the sense to him, because that's what he was raised on. That's the life he led, and it makes sense for him to look at it that way. So, yeah, it makes Magneto even more complex than he was before, and he was already pretty complex, and one of Marvel's best villains, arguably. So, no, I love what they did with it. I think it's really good.
Me too, sir.
Let's get something funny here real quick. Best cameo in Marvel. Wolverine, did he do it? Was this his best cameo?
I think so. I think so.
Sorry,
it was perfect.
Sorry, Stanley, you get second place, but I mean, this is really good though. This is really good. Thoughts on the pre-alpha build of the Cerebro machine?
I think it fit the period. 70s. I think it looked sufficiently retro enough. I like the call outs to are you sure you wouldn't just want to shave your head? This would probably work better. He's like, don't touch my hair. Fuck you, don't touch my hair.
It's so ironic too, considering the actor did shave his hair for the role. You gotta wonder if he's annoyed that they made that line a thing or what.
Oh, no, I think it's I think it was a fantastic line, honestly, and I think he would definitely have some fun with it.
Mm-hmm. McAvoy seems like an actor who actually has a lot of fun with the roles he does, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in anything he's in. Like, he's just fantastic.
Yeah, he is. He's just a wonderfully gifted actor. Yeah, I will definitely see anything that he's in. I love the the subtle comedy that he brings to this role. I mean, when you think of Charles Xavier, you think of like stuffy or kind of like, uh, uh, not. I don't want to say holier than thou, but you see like a very like
Uppity.
kind of high minded person, really intelligent, really kind, big humanitarian, and that's kind of unapproachable after a while. Like he's really warm and opening, but you talk to him like you're talking to someone above you as opposed to an actual just person who's going through the same stuff you are. And I think the subtle comedy that McAvoy brought to the role like really helped to humanize Charles in more than one way. So I really love the way that he did that.
Yep. Speaking of subtlety, I want to bring up the line dropped by Beast at one point. So when they go in there and they introduce him to the cast, and it's revealed that he is a mutant. He drops the line, "They didn't ask, so I didn't tell."
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, I'd never caught that before. That is on the nose.
Ooh. It's just like we're gonna boop your nose and then we're gonna never say it again. That's it. Plus, it was the 70s. It's the fucking CIA. Just like, yeah, no, we can have that and just. Oh, I love it.
There's not a lot to say on it, but I just wanted to bring it up because it's such a good dig.
It's a really good line.
Okay, so I want to get to the parts. I want to get to a part that stuck out for me. So this is the 4th X-Men film, unless you count Wolverine, in which case it's the 5th, but we're not going to count it. So this is the 4th X-Men film. This is a soft reboot of the series, more or less. Why did it take this long to show a training montage for the characters in fucking X-Men movies? Why did it take this long to combo their powers in unique and effective ways in an X-Men movie?
I think the major focus on for the earlier movies was to show already established mutants duking it out rather than focus on the school aspect. Like, in all honesty, like for the majority of the 3 films, they try to use the school as little as fucking possible.
It's probably expensive.
I mean, true, but like the fact that, you know, they're all fucking teachers in the school outside of a couple of like classroom like scenes and the one fucking instance of the danger room that we got in the worst movie of the 3. Yeah. But since this is literally the his first class of mutants, and you get to see how Charles actually worked with each and every one of the students using a combination of his powers and just how badass of a teacher he is. I think that if we were going to have a training montage, this was literally the perfect film for it. So I'm glad it happened.
I get you. But I'm someone who loves seeing like Cyclops or Wolverine or Storm or even Xavier, like we did here, go through with the students and train them and show off their powers. Like the training montage is a good way for us to establish each character quickly and their powers quickly. So it's a very nice setup that you don't want to do it every movie because it would get predictable. But it's definitely a good way to at least set up your team for like an early film and maybe like down the road do another one when you get a new cast rotated or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And I love how they do it here. It's so well put together, and the way they do it, the characters and actors have a lot of fun with it, and I love it. It to me is what makes a good X-Men team film. The X-Men are a group of students. They're a group of military kids, basically, part of this Xavier's paramilitary thing. It combines all of these little disparate parts into like this one like simplistic montage sequence, and it works. It really works.
It really does. Yeah, I 100% agree on that.
Going on that, though, for the combination of powers, though, so, as I mentioned in the synopsis, there's a scene in which they send out Banshee to scout out for the ship, and then he visualizes it, to Xavier, who then projects that visual to Magneto to then pull out of the water with his magnetic powers. There's never been a more impressive combination of powers up to this point. And I'm like, in a series built on this team dynamic, why are we just now getting this?
Well, I mean, because the earlier movies weren't really focused on the aspect of the X-Men being a team. Instead, they were a group of pretty powerful mutants that get into a series of either one-on-one fights with other powerful mutants, or that just go up against groups of random people with guns or random ass mutants that they just have to fight. In which case, they just get to wreck shit and just showcase crazy ass powers. I definitely would have liked to have seen more synergy as a team outside of just, hey, they hit me with the fastball special, or the best offense is great, the best defense is great offense, and throwaway lines towards actual teamwork. When the X-Men is one of the most well-run teams in the fucking Marvel universe.
They give the Avengers a run for their money, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. So I 100% agree that they should have had more of it, and I'm glad. Really, all of the improvements showcase the new direction that they wanted to take this in. They wanted to pay homage to the old for really paving the way, not just for X-Men, but also for just comic book movies in general. But they also wanted to really do their own thing and to make it much, much better everywhere they can. And I think the instance of teamwork, combos and power combinations are 100% a step in the right direction.
It's just a refreshing thing to see, especially because then Marvel turns and does it in Avengers and going forward. And it's nice when you have these team up films and they actually feel like the teams are worth having. So keep doing this going forward, Marvel, because this film right here is a great example of where to start. I'm not saying do this one for one, but get some cliff notes from this one. This one did a pretty good job. Last question before we move on to our next segment, Ryan. Is Magneto wrong, or is he justified? And was Charles right to wipe Moira's mind?
Bruh. The big questions.
I know. I somehow hold these off to the very end every time.
Okay, so when you ask was Magneto wrong, are you saying is he wrong in terms of wanting to kill Shaw, or in terms of just his general stance on the mutant-human divide?
I mean, you can take that either way. I think that him wanting to kill Shaw and how that goes down, I don't think there's any other way you could have played that. So I think I would focus more on the civil rights stance.
Okay. I mean, although just to briefly touch on the Shaw thing, I think it's definitely one of the major breaking points between him and Charles, when he's been working on him this whole movie to kind of show restraint and to forgive and do all of these things. And in the midst of this crazy ass fight, Charles is able to actually freeze Shaw by holding him in his mind. And then Eric, knowing full well that Xavier would feel everything, still killed Shaw in as slow of a way as possible. So I think Shaw needed to die, but I think the manner in which he did it was definitely one of the breaking points between his friendship. And it was kind of one of those moments where it's these characters will never be able to see eye to eye. They can get so close, but at the end of the day, Eric is ultimately ruled by his hatred, and he was never going to pass up revenge. Peace was never an option, in his words. Regarding the civil rights bit, I definitely disagree with him, although I completely understand how he came to his argument. I mean, because like we mentioned earlier, it's hate reciprocating hate. He was fed this horrible existence and all of this hatred, and there was no real other outcome for him outside of reciprocating that just in a slightly different form. Of course, it feels justified to him because you never think you're the villain in your own story. You think everything that happened to you is entirely justified. It entirely justifies how you respond to it. But the fact that he turns around and spits the same rhetoric that his abuser did, while just throwing a different, like a new coat of paint on it, I think that betrays his. I think that betrays the lack of foundation inherent in his argument. So I think he's wrong.
Mm-hmm. I'll pretty much follow you on that one. I think I don't have anything really. You cover that pretty well.
Sorry, I keep talking forever. I'm sorry.
No, it's good because then I get my throat a little bit of a rest. But no, I think Magneto. It's what makes him such a compelling character, right? His stance is. It has a merit to it, but at the same time, what he does is wrong, and it provides a good counterexample to Xavier. It provides a good villain who can also arguably be a hero at times, and and there's a following behind him because he's not necessarily evil. He just does things in a way that, from the angle of humans, is evil. But for mutants, it's like, oh, he's fighting for us. He wants us to have better lives. Yeah. And I think there's one thing you mentioned that I disagree with, and it's that they won't see eye to eye. And the methods, yes, they won't agree on the methods, but they both have the same end goal, obviously, which is a better world for mutants. So
I don't think they do have the same end goal, though. Because I think Eric's ultimate end goal is to have mutants above everybody because they think they can only peacefully coexist with each other and not humanity, whereas Charles just wants everybody to be able to live peacefully.
Well, I think it's semantics. I think the baseline is they both do want a better world for mutants. It's just what is that better world in their vision.
Possibly. I think the main disagreement is whether or not humans can fit in that better world for mutants. And I think on that, they will never agree.
Maybe. I know there are comics where Magneto is a good guy and does join the X-Men from time to time. Yeah. So I'm very curious to see if they ever play that angle in the movies at all going forward, because that would be an interesting way to spin things, since we've not seen that before.
It definitely would be interesting, especially with the later movies. They kind of play Michael Fassbender more towards the middle, more towards the tortured anti-hero, as opposed to having him go deep down the villain train. He definitely wears the villain hat in Days of Future Past, which we'll talk about next week. But, later on, and possibly what we'll see in Dark Phoenix. But, yeah, you definitely see him kind of tortured by the decisions of his past. And rather than having him double down on those decisions, you see him really uncertain and really unsure of himself. Which makes for a more compelling story, in my opinion.
Indeed. Before we hit the mailbag, Ryan, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I'm really, really glad that I got to rewatch this. It reminded me how good it was. Now, whether or not I'll be able to keep this positivity up for Days of Future Past, where they pretty much retcon the rest of it, and Apocalypse, which was not great.
It wasn't horrible, though, and I'm looking forward to giving it another shot. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the second watch will be more kinder in my mind than the original one.
Yep. And if y'all want to tell us your thoughts, if you think that we're going to have some fun times ahead of us with Future Past, Apocalypse, and Phoenix, you can comment down below saying what you expect to happen or what you want to see happen in future episodes, because we'll take suggestions. And that can be done on Twitter, Facebook, or Tumblr. And if you want to actually help us out and make it more possible for us to do bigger projects or more podcasts, you can also go to patreon.com/evacstation and donate $1 there, because that really helps out a lot. And Ryan, if they want to email us directly for any suggestions, what's the best way they can do that?
They can reach us at our lovely email at excuse me, at evacstation@gmail.com.
That got suspiciously German there for a second.
Don't worry about it. I had something stuck in my throat.
It's fine. No one who's ever bad has spoken German.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Welcome to another episode, or another exciting segment, which we always have been calling X-Men or Bullshit.
Oh boy, this'll be fun.
This week, Ryan, the theme is gonna fucking break your mind a little bit, I think. Is this an X-Men character or a sex position?
Are you fucking kidding? What?
Yep.
Aaron! Fuck it. Alright. This'll be fantastic. Alright, let's see.
For those who are playing at home, I did pull the sex positions from something like Cosmo or a similar PR article kind of thing. So I had to find something to make it work, and these are kind of funny. I had a good time with these. Here we go.
Oh my god! All right, let's see this nonsense.
Let me get my pen and paper ready. Number 1, Ryan. Oh, I should probably get the rules real quick. I'm going to read a name for everybody who's playing at home. Read a name, and then I will give the description of what their powers may or may not be. The name and or powers may or may not be fake. The idea is to find out which one of these is a real X-Man or not. Here we go. Number 1, Bandolier. The power can pull items from various pockets on his or her person as if they're portals to other dimensions.
See, with these, I now have to think of, does the power make sense? And then the second question has to be, what would the sex position look like if that is actually a sex position? And I can't think of what the fucking bandolier would be, but I'm still gonna go with the sex position on that one.
Alrighty. Number 2, Sphinx. Can command flames, resist mind reading, and control effects.
I'm going to assume that this is some type of variation on doggy style, so I'm gonna go with the sex position on that one.
Alrighty. Number 3, Amazon. Can morph as if made from clay or mud.
Morph as if made from clay or mud. I don't think that necessarily makes sense with the name. If it was like crazy, if it was like a enhanced strength, coordination, and durability, and like it was a woman who like wielded a bow and a spear, then maybe. But I'm gonna go with sex position. What would the Amazon look like? Is that like ready for delivery? Like, is that like a booty call? Like online?
I love the extra thought you're putting into that half of the equation. Next up, Surge. Uncontrolled electrical absorption. Can discharge as lightning blast or as super speed.
It sounds like a fucking STD. But uncontrolled electrical absorption, can discharge as lightning blast or super speed. I'm gonna say that's an X-Man. I think that's an X-Man. I'm gonna go that because it also has a drawback to it, which is very mutant-like. So yeah.
Fair enough. Number, what am I at now? 5, I think. 5. Padlock. Can freeze people and objects in place for short amount of time.
Lockdown. What the fuck? The padlock? Like a lock and key? What do you like? Does the person like bridge and then you insert like while they're like kind of holding themselves up like a crab?
I want the CAA to keep an eye on Ryan's Google history after this episode.
Hey, nobody look at my search history. Putting that shit on incognito mode. I'll say that's an X-Men. That relatively sounds like a power that could be. That would be a really good power. But yeah, I think that might be an X-Men.
Indeed. Last one, number 6, Supernova. Can cause energy explosions and can have her body explode in a larger burst of energy. Particles reform into the whole after a little bit of time.
that sounds like too strong of a power. And I guess it's a sex position. What the fuck is the supernova? What?
We're gonna find out how well versed Ryan is on X-Men and sex positions. Here we go. Number 1, the bandolier is in fact a sex position. You got that correct.
Hey!
Number 2, Sphinx is also a sex position. 2 for 2. 2 for 2.
Hey! Alright.
Number 3, Amazon. Ryan is on fire with another sex position. That's a sentence I didn't think I'd say out loud.
I just looked up the bandolier position. What the fuck? I've actually tried that. Next, what's next on the
Number 4,
list, sir?
Surge. You got that one right. It is in fact an X-Man.
Yes! The drawback. That's what's so different.
Number 5, Padlock is actually a sex position.
What the fuck is the padlock? Google!
What is Padlock?
What is it?
While Ryan's looking up, I'm going to tell you the last one, everybody. The last one, Supernova,
actually, that
is
makes sense.
a sex
That makes
position.
sense.
Ryan got 5 out of 6. That's pretty solid work. Pretty solid work.
Hey! I like a little crap. Sorry. All right. So why don't you go ahead and close this out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's close it out so you can have a long talk with Allegra about that. Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. We're going to move on to our last segment here, the review of the film from platinum to bullshit and all the colors in between. Ryan, where would you rank X-Men First Class? I think I know where I'm going to put it.
Damn.
I've been going back and forth on this for a few days, thinking about it. And it is arguably my favorite X-Men of the bunch. And I think it definitely is a, like, it's definitely a bar of which you measure the other films, I think. It's the one that, like, shows how you do certain things correctly, ignoring certain elements like the perfect casting of certain characters and giving them someone different. And while they aren't perfect, they do things in a different way that actually makes them work in a arguably better way at times. I'm going to say, for me, personally, and you don't have to agree with me on this one, I'm going to go platinum.
Wow.
This is, to me, the exemplary X-Men film. Hands down.
Damn. Okay.
Like I said, I was back and forth with that in gold for, like, the past couple days. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. You know what? I can't gainsay you, sir. Like, you make a good argument. It's definitely the bar that you compare the other X-Men films to. It definitely starts out. It starts out the new batch of films on such a strong note. It showcases a lot of the things that they want to do differently. It's a great period piece, and it's really, really character-driven, which has been a problem for these movies in the last in its last iterations. I think its sequels kind of fall off a little bit, but I think as a first step, it definitely raises the bar super high. So yeah, I would give it a platinum with you. I would give it a platinum with you.
Awesome. Matthew Vaughn, if you could come back and do other X-Men films, that'd be great. You had a good head on your shoulders.
Please.
Next week, we return to the X-Men franchise with Days of Future Past and with, what's that guy's name again? the one pedophile. That one.
The one.
I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm sure once I read it, I'll be like, oh yeah, that guy. So thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you after the credits.
Bye.